Hello there everybody, you're there, it's my name is SuperSonicBlur, and welcome to the finals of the EU Combine Week 2. It is going to be the number 1 seed going against the number 6 seed coming into this, eloFishers versus Wine and Dine. Wine and Dine managed to beat out the Moxies 2-1 in their semi-finals. Unfortunately, Spectator was being a pain, so I wasn't actually able to watch it, but we will be able to see the finale of what these two can bring. Again, I believe it's another best of 3, so again, we should be getting at least 2 games here. Pick some bands already going through. Seen some interesting stuff come out so far. We know that things like Cozy have played the Kuzumbo a lot, but we know as well that Wine and Dine have done it before. Wine and Dine sitting with Mr. Stefan currently. Ice Silence, also very well-known players. Marcus, again. Terim in the solo lane as well, also very, very strong players. But so far, there's an Agni and there's a Jibalonquai. Like, we know that these guys can play it, so there's some pretty good stuff. Mr. Stefan on the Isis, I know for a fact that he did play this against the Moxies, played it to varying degrees of success. So I'm going to be interested to see how this goes. Ice is not one of the strongest picks potentially in the game currently, but I know that we've seen things like FlurryQ has run this with a very sort of semi-tanky build for the idea where you're sort of more of a bruiser, kind of like you would be as a solo laner, just with a little bit more of a damage-orientated build. But 2 warriors, 2 mages so far, not the worst, especially when they have Vamana and Amaterasu, 2 very good front lines, and 2 very strong damage sources coming out from the back. Going into things like the Jibalonquai, Agni, and Naja. Now, the Naja could be for Getfisher. More likely it is going to be actually for Kriyu, who I believe, if let me just pull up the information. Yeah, I think that is a sub by the looks of it, because I don't see that on the normal roster, so I would assume that they are going to be filling in for Boss. Unfortunately, cannot make it. Just a bit awkward. In terms of what they're going to go for, Jing Chen, very strong solo laner, definitely very good, solid, it just sustains through a lot, can fight okay, it's not the worst. It also, as well, really good against auto attackers, reduces the amount of damage you do on auto attacks with the Furious Roar, so that's certainly a good option. It's what they're also going to pick to back that up. Something else for the front line, I would imagine, or potentially, yep, there it is, that's what I was thinking. That's going to be Getfisher's Ravan, most likely, unless you want to see something like Ravan solo, but I wouldn't think that that's going to be the case. So, looks to be a fairly well-rounded comp. Naja support, definitely something that Getfisher could be aggressive with, is this Ravan. It's seeing his gold pool, you've got to have the Ravan in there as well, so it's definitely a lot of strong potential. There's also a lot of dive potential as well on long-range damage that can just sort of sidestep over whatever the Vamana or Amaterasu can do, and a Ratatoska will also fit this bill for what I can only assume would be the jungle here. Also, do excuse me as well if there are any more sort of pauses and silence and things. I am eating as this goes, because this has gone on rather late, and this is fairly casual, so don't worry about it. I will try to minimize the eating sounds as I can, because it's not always great listening to someone eat, but Thanatos, now that is a lot of early aggression. That is a lot of early aggression. I kind of like the Ratatoska a bit more, but I can respect it. Again, this does look to be a jungle pick, unless you want to run like Jungle Vamana and Thanatos solo. I mean, you could. I don't see why you would do it, though. Are they going to lock it in? Is it going to be a locked-in Thanatos? They're still thinking about it. I'm not sure why you would necessarily want the Thanatos. I mean, it does deal a lot of early damage, which is pretty good. And yeah, it is going to be Ravan on the Ravan being piloted by Getfisher. Sixer will be taking Jin Chen to the solo lane. Kriyu will be piloting the Naja support. Potato has his Agni, and honestly, I would not be surprised if we see this get banned out in the future. I like the ban out of Nemesis as well. Getfisher has had a fantastic Nemesis, which just sits on the mages, so I'm totally fine with seeing something like that. In terms of the other bans, it's interesting to see what's come out from the eloFishers. They went for a very high Guardian, just take away all the Guardians, which I don't mind the option, especially when they didn't have anything picked. So, given as well what they went for, Ice Silence has played a fantastic Khepri in the games against the Moxies, and it's part of the reason why they actually won that in the end. So, because of that, taking that off the table, I'm very glad to see that they were watching as well and do that. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough speculating. I'll see you when we get into the game. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Game 1, eloFishers versus the Wine and the Dine. So far, haven't seen anything spicy from them. I'm surprised as well, eloFishers didn't actually end up looking to try and do their invade start, where they sort of try and they get several wards down. They get sort of one here, they get one here, and then they try and get one over at their own back camp. So you get this sort of L shape so that they can see if anyone's going to invade on them, they can get the enemy buff timers, and they can get the enemy back camp. There's maybe a strat that they tried to pull away from doing, just because they did use this a lot when it came to last week. So again, they want to try and build up these new tactics and not just constantly use the same ones, because the idea is that if you are repetitive when you do things, that can be abusable. If you know that someone's always going to do the same thing game in, game out, you can abuse that and take advantage of it. If they're predictable and you know what their pathing is going to be, then go ahead and change that. Now, it's interesting here. We do see Terim. Again, this is what I was talking about with this idea of eloFishers going for an invade. This is why Terim is actually here. They are simply there just to try and make sure that if that does happen, then nothing can go wrong. Duo lane, little bit of a spat between the two of them, just posturing for position. No one's really trying to go for a kill here. Notice how far apart everyone is on Wine and Dine right now. Ice Silence and E-Chrome are opposite ends of the opposite sides of the lane. They do not want ring bounce to screw them over. eloFishers do manage to secure themselves lane dominance, and so as a result, Wine and Dine are actually going to do the smart option here and just say, you know what, let's just go do our buff instead. We're going to start on our buff, make sure that we can secure that, we'll come back into the lane and get something else. It means that eloFishers, even though they got all of that pressure, can't really do anything with it. And what is also nice is that Wine and Dine, if they feel like it, can actually just try and hold this wave out here, freeze up towards their side of the map, and not worry about too many problems. They don't necessarily want to push out themselves, but they do just want to try and hit level 2 off this next wave, which they should be able to do. So a little bit more, as you can see, look, both of them hit level 2 at pretty much the exact same time, so that's not too bad for them. Like I said, it's a fairly even lane. Good dash into the Jibalonque, puts a little bit of poke into him, but now the wave clear falls to Najar. Najar is unfortunately having to do that. Good sash, forces the beats from Ecro. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Mr. Stefan takes down Getfisher. And since we completely missed that, let's go back and see what happened in the mid lane. So mids end up rotating themselves out. They just go for their red buff. This is pretty self-explanatory. What is interesting though is the fact that at this point you can see that Thanatos has actually been able to take both of those. He gets the blink from Getfisher, who's looking to be a bit aggressive, but Marcus was just a bit faster with the earlier clear. Not quite as healthy as it currently stands, but that's not what's important. The fact that he has had the faster clear is. Now they're just going to try and put some good damage in. Great Spirit Ball and Silence. Ravan was still level 2, so didn't have the CC immunity. It's just a good CC chain. Fantastic Spirit Ball from Mr. Stefan as well. He wasn't aiming that was an instance. He wasn't aiming at the actual mid camp there. He was straight up aiming for anyone who comes around that corner. That was really, really well played by Mr. Stefan. And if it wasn't, fantastic reaction times to go, actually, let's not push the button and explode it early. Let us instead actually just make sure that this actually kills Getfisher. Good stun. A little bit of poke going back to the duo lane. Ice Silence is about half health, but he will heal up with that Divine Presence. Mid lane again. Bit more damage. Marcus gets another kill on Getfisher. This is a huge turnaround from what we've seen before. Getfisher's just... he's been manhandled right now. I think this may be part of the reason why this ISIS pick was actually done, is this early game semi-control, this stun that can keep GetFisher under control, and I think that's also why Marcus chose to go for something with such high aggression early. If GetFisher is going to just try and go, hey guys, look what I can do to your team, this Thanatos pick will hopefully be able to make sure that they can't do that. Marcus now able to trade 1-for-1, gets a good scythe as well. Puts down Potato to half health. Meanwhile, Crew ends up falling to Ice Silence under the tower. Pretty impressive work coming out from Wine and Dine. I mean, they're living up to their name, because not only are they whining and dining eloFishers, but they are currently fucking them pretty hard too. And I get to say this because this is not this is not like a proper broadcast. This is I'm uploading on my own channel, so fuck it, I can swear if I want. Just build a bad habit for if I do end up doing more casting, which I hope to try and do. Really hope to be able to do. Hopefully, if you guys like this, we'll try and do some more of this. I know that there's also NA Combine, which I'll try and get some of that done, and if you want, we can do more of that as well. Here's hoping for it. But 3 kills in 3.5 minutes. Gold lead is 1,000 in favor of Wine and Dine currently. What's important as well is that Mr. Stefan is the one who's kind of really big right now, and that's very scary. He's got his Book of Thoth stacking already. Like, dual lanes winning, jungles winning, mid lanes winning for Wine and Dime. We're actually going to see a bit of a gank come out from the Thanatos. He's up in the air. Who's he going to land on, though, is the question. Sprint has been popped, and it's now all onto the Naja, just caught away from the rest of the team. Echrome will pick that one up. Very nice work coming out from Marcus. It was an okay disengage from eloFishers. It was a bit late. There wasn't really much that they had in the way of wards to be able to actually spot that out. So it was good that Kryu and Itori backed off the way that they did. Better the Naja die than Itori die there, but it is the Naja, and he is here for the early game damage. Him falling down twice now, really not a good look for him currently. Now Wine and Dine looking for an invade. They won't actually be able to find anything as GetFisher finally gets some revenge on Mr. Stefan now. Health bars are very low. How can he find the Death Scythe? He's looking for it. Marcus is looking for it. Can he find it? No, he can't. He ends up taking a tower shot, getting stunned out. Beads are forced. Now it's on for the Dazzling Offense. Ice Silence will pick that up, which is unfortunate because Marcus really needed that for the heal. Naja, a military sash goes in, but it's not enough damage. And now he'll slip away. Thanatos does get the Death Scythe off in time. Those very tense moments of Marcus there. Now Naja 2 levels down to Amaterasu, taking a fair chunk of damage. That was quite the engage that happened, and already now, Thanatos is full health. And he'll make his way over to Terim, who is kind of had a silent match right now. Like, neither one of these two teams has really done anything. Both have gotten the Totem of Kum like once or twice each, so nothing really too big coming out from that regard. And neither one of these two are really looking for kill potential as it currently stands. The choice from Terim actually to go Solaria Boots is definitely a very interesting one. He's already got the second highest base movement speed at 380, so really looking for this potential to chase down targets, and in big baby form, it's definitely going to be able to help with a lot of issues they have. Darkest and Ice has come out, though, as on the left-hand side, we've got a bit more of an aggression. Naja was forced as well, Jabalonque forced to Aegis, and immediately just taken down to the ground. Very nice work there. Believe Sixer and Terim both also ulted as well, trying to make use of the Darkest of Nights. Very interesting to see that come out there, but in the end, it's Marcus who ends up picking up another kill onto this duo lane, and now it's that late game hyper carry who's taking the spill. Love to see what Terim's doing right now, just trying to make use of whatever pressure he can. He'd already proxied, so see if there's anything up for him to be able to take for his team, which most importantly keeps GetFisher on the back foot. Very awkward situation. And like I said in the last game, I actually said, hey, can GetFisher play from behind? We've seen what happens when he gets ahead, but can he play from behind? Bit of an interesting spot Potato's in right now. Good blink engagement. Marcus burnt incredibly low, trying to hide behind the minions to get something from there, but both get stolen away, and GetFisher puts Marcus down in the ground. That's a very nice way to get him back into the game. Spirit Ball does connect onto Potato, but nothing else will really come from it. Very nice work there from GetFisher and from Potato. Potato, at first I thought, oh, it's a bit of a weird way he's going around. I don't know if he knows about it, but they knew. He straight up knew, and he was looking for it. Very, very nice play coming out from eloFisher as well, but Wine and Dine are trying to one-up them on this. They're going for a very early Gold Fury. Stefan doesn't have his ultimate for this, so I don't think that eloFishers would necessarily expect this to happen. In fact, I don't think any of them are expecting this to happen, and it just goes down in their favor. Wine and Dine take a sneaky Gold Fury, and eloFishers just can't do anything about it. Really nice work coming out from Wine and Dine, noticing an opportunity and exploiting it. They could have looked for a fight there if they needed to take it, but Itori had already backed. He was making his way out of base. eloFisher and Potato didn't have anything. They'd used it all to expend on Marcus, so why would they think that Wine and Dine would go for a Gold Fury? Really nice work. And look at the ward coverage that's there. Look at that ward coverage. There's so many wards currently right around for Wine and Dine that they had that shows them, hey, no one else is around that they can see. So they had a very nice opportunity and a great capitalization. This actually brings the game even further in their favor, just shy of 3,000 gold. Now Ecro making use of that ward, disapparating as far away as possible, back out and to safety. And I really like what's been happening. This Soul, Ecrom, he's played this lane really well. Let's hang on. Mid lane. Bit more of a fight. Marcus ends up falling down again, this time to Potato. Dash in from Amaterasu. She gets ulted immediately by two members. Very awkward situation. Spirit Bomb doesn't hit anyone. The ult, though, does save some good work. Can Naja catch up to this? Their sprint has been popped, but it looks like Ice Silence is going to be able to wiggle his way out. Amaterasu Sash does come through, but the damage is not enough. Soul turns back up and is able to bail out Ice Silence. The movement speed from Divine Presence is enough, and the wiggles were absolutely phenomenal. Crew can't quite secure it, and Potato, using the way that he's been playing this now, he's very up high against Mr. Stefan. Marcus is ulting him, looking for the return kill if he can. Crusher's online as well. Death Scythe hits, and one more basic is all it'll take. Potato ends up falling. Just as I was about to mention that Potato kind of was trying to turn this back around, ends up going way too deep for what I can only assume was a red buff invade. But to mention again how he was trying to be so impactful in this, he actually finished off the Spear of the Magus before he finished off his boots here. Now that's a very interesting option, as we see a bit of an invade coming out on the blue buff. Is unsuccessful though, which is a rarity. 3 people now over here. And a good little taunt from Sixer, but with those 3 members here, Sixer has to know that if they've backed off, they might be going for this. I don't think they would necessarily be able to contest it, but Wine and Dine come away with another free objective that's uncontested. Oh no, Sixer, what are you doing, buddy? Sixer, you can't be up there. Does get the Amaterasu ult, but now there's 4 people around him. Gold Fury's already down, so he can't do anything. Whirlwind Ridge's Steel isn't good enough. 5 people now are here. That's an ultimate, and Terrorim will pick that one up. Not sure the need for 2 ultimates there, but they do manage to pick up the kill. Sixer just goes overly aggressive in for the blue buff. I don't think he expected that to happen. I mean, obviously he didn't expect that much rotation. I didn't expect that much of a rotation, honestly. Now Marcus going for the ultimate, looking to try and find something. Good Spirit Ball onto the Naja, forces us up almost immediately. Amaterasu on the front line, trying to find something but can't. Potato ends up raining hell onto them. Marcus taking the brunt of it as well. Very nice work there. And so it seems that eloFishers have now been able to sort of stall this game out. Potato in the mid lane, dashing aggressively, gets the sprint, gets a stun onto Mr. Stefan, but it's not good enough. Now the damage, though, is all on to Potato. Good Spirit Ball keeps him in the back. Deathstrike misses, though. eloFishers trying to use his damage, getting closer, gets the root off, and manages to get the 10-hand Shackle Fist down as well. Marcus won't be able to survive that. Potato falls to Mr. Stefan in the mid lane. This is just an all-out brawl between these 2 teams right now. Another 2 for 1, though. Now it's onto the Naja. Good Armillary Sash, though. Very good work from them. Now, though, this big grouping here. Godfrey's not up. They're looking to just try and push down this tier 1 tower. Big Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Not doing enough damage, though. A fantastic Spirit Ball clips him right on the edge. Now, Vermont will just use that big baby passive just to try and be able to secure enough damage onto this. And now it's more likely that Wine and Dine are going to be looking to try and set up for the next Gold Fury. Backing up, buying up, and pushing their lead above that 5,000 gold now. definitely been a more interesting game we've seen from these two, as I am very happy to see that Tarim has gone for this Blackthorn Hammer. This amount of health that he has right now is just phenomenal to actually try and deal with. It's blinked forward from Jing Chen, trying to do damage over onto the Isis. He will manage to secure it thanks to the Mystical Mail, but will he be able to follow it up? Marcus has ulted, but he doesn't want to really try and go in. Will instead end up landing on the buff, but Blink Fall by eloFishers just completely controls Marcus. Potato puts through the damage to control him, and twice now we've seen this situation where eloFishers have really abused Marcus and this positioning. He didn't have beads, didn't have anything else available to him, so just abused the situation. They probably saw that he had the ult up and knew where he was landing, so they just try and re-abuse it. And all that coverage for the wards is all over on this right-hand side. The left-hand side, there's barely any wards around, so eloFishers able to put a dent in that lead, bring it back under 4,000 now, and take a tier 1 tower of their own to even it things up. God Fury has respawned, this one being the Primal Fury. As I mentioned before, this one will give 5% additional damage to a team that has this and can stack up to 3 times. So getting this definitely means that getting a Fire Giant and sequential Furies is easier to be able to do. Good damage onto the Agni there. Again, Mr. Stefan going for not aiming for these actual buffs. It's more aiming to try and poke out things like Potato, who is once again going for a very heavy pen build. I'm expecting this to be a Divine Ruin, as see a little bit of contestant. Oh, they're going right for the Fire Giant. All 5 people are here. This Gold Fury is being burned. Circle Protection is out, and it's already gone. Darkest Knights has come out. Whirlwind of Rage of Steel picks up Marcus's beads. Meanwhile, we see Itori trying to slap fight out with the Soul. Dazzling Offense keeps Naja busy, and Jing Chen takes a little bit of poke, but everyone's kind of just resetting at this point. Jing Chen's out, and Wine and Dine come away with another free Gold Fury. This surprises me that eloFishers didn't expect this kind of thing to happen. Big fight, Naja goes up, ends up falling very low. He's under the threshold, Marcus is up looking for him. We'll be able to secure it. Now the Agni from the backside, Terroring picks that one up. And now it's just 2 front lines, and they're going down. Jing Chen not really able to find much here. He's just going to run down like a dog. Itori trying to do something but can't survive them. This is just a 5-man death ball right now. Speaking of death ball, it clips him. Not good enough though. Thanatos might end up falling, but Itori does fall first, and it does look like Marcus will survive as a 5-0 and the Gold Fury go the way of Wine and Dine. 6 and a bit thousand gold lead, 6,800 in the experience lead as well for Wine and Dine. Certainly that last fight was a very strange one, in which eloFishers turn up late to a Gold Fury. Wine and Dine then try to back out. eloFishers try to push the fight, push a little bit too far forward, end up on the retreat, getting re-caught back out. Now this I do like from Wine and Dine. They were setting up around this Fire Giant pit. Again, just another one of these instances where we'll just take another fight. Again, looking at this positioning though, they might end up losing it, but they do secure it. 2 Agni Bombs. Marcus now looking to just get out of dodge, trying to see if there's anyone worth falling on. Does end up falling over onto the backside with Sixer, who is forced to back off. Dazzling Offense comes out. Is he trying to look for anything? 2-man stun! Terran picks that one up. A Supernova in the backside. Meanwhile, Kiryu picks up one. I believe that it's one of the front lines, and it isn't. It's Marcus. Potato picks that one up. Amaterasu, again, really nice silence now on this Naja. Autos being pelted into his back, but so are the autos being pelted into Soul. No one was looking at Itori there. Tarim now pushed very far forward. Big Spirit Ball sets up Mr. Stefan to pick up another one of these kills. Amaterasu hiding in the buff camp, looking to just try and get away from Agni. The Thorns have been popped. Will it be enough? I don't know if that's the case, but he's still going for it. Clear the path is good, but the Umbrella Rang toss is better. Another situation where Wine and Dine just come up huge in these fights. You can tell how good it's going for them. Terrorim has a fully stacked Hide of the Urchin already. That is 51 of each prot, and look how much health he has right now. What's that? 450. There's 700. There's 900 additional health in this. There's 1,000 additional health. He must be sat at least 2.8 thousand at this point. Yeah, 3,000 health at this point. Considering the fact that Colossal Fury is also going to regenerate as well, 1% of his health every 0.2 seconds. You know, he's restoring 30 health a second at this point, like 32 health every 0.2 seconds. Every second, that's what, 5 times that. He's restoring 150 health a second. Not to mention as well, the 0.6% of his health as well every 0.2 seconds. So that's 3% as well. That's like 600 health in a shield that he's getting back in Colossal Fury. And they're going to try and abuse this situation and go for this Fire Giant. He's on the front line, looking to just be aggressive, but everyone knows that he's just the bait, not looking for it. Whirlwind Rage of Steel picks at Isis, who goes right into the ult there. Najah looks to take her out, but there's no follow-up though. Meanwhile, Terrorim is just on the front line, dealing with the front line, with the back line. Potato ends up falling to him. They can't out-DPS this. Everyone's just falling. Get Fisher now. Turns back up to the fight. Does help pick up Mr. Stefan with set throws. And now we see Echrome doing work on this Soul. Dash forward again. Marcus has returned. Blink forward. Looking for the Xingqiang. Can he find the Death Scythe? He can't. Ice Silence will take that with the reflect damage. And again, another situation where 4 people fall on eloFishers. But this time, Fire Giant is ripe for the picking. Itori just heading back over to the left-hand side. They don't have any option here but to try and split push this. In fact, actually, Wine and Dine is basically split pushing themselves, setting up and getting this Fire Giant. Not only that, but they also get the right side tower as well. Primal Fury has now respawned, and I would not be surprised if this is one of the first places we see them go. They can run it down mid, they can run it back here, and still do fantastic work. 12,000 gold lead. Every time that Wine and Dine have taken these fights, it always feels like eloFishers have still been the ones to try and actually take the fight. What I do find that's interesting though is the fact that Terrorim was keeping 2 of them busy. Like straight up in mid lane, he had both Itori and Potato just unable to do anything at all whatsoever, as another health item for Terrorim comes out. This dude has 3.4k health and still relatively tanky stats. I'm genuinely surprised at how tanky this Ramana has become. And I am so surprised that we have not seen any more of these percent health based items. Straight up, honestly, if Potato were to pick up an Ethereal Staff and he hits Terrorim, well, Ethereal Staff is like 4% of their health. He's getting like 600 health here. Like, that's nuts. That's actually nuts. Well, it's not quite 600 health, excuse me. It's, what, 4%. 1% we said was 30. So he's getting 120 health. That's a lot of health that he can pull off Terrorim. But, for now, they just don't have anything. I need Itori to pick up a kin size. He needs a kin size, like, now, honestly. And that's the situation that he finds himself in. Unfortunately, because he's gone for this RC here, he's pushed back that build piece by, you know, 1,700 gold. If he had his Executioner online and was halfway to a kins, yeah, he does a lot of damage. But right now, he's just suffering in that they cannot melt this health pool. This health pool, not to mention on top of that, but he's also as well getting an additional near 300 health? 10% of 100 plus, yeah, he's getting nearly 200 health on top of the additional health that he already has. So this dude is already sat at 3,600 health. Honestly, yeah, I was gonna say, if he gets like a Spirit Robe here, just cap off with some mitigation as well. That's going to be disgusting. He can still sell his boots if he desires, go for a potion of speed, and then last item he could just get even tankier if he so desired. But honestly, I like having this additional bit of movement speed. He could swap it for like an Atalana's bow or something like that, or even a hastened katana. katana you could opt for, given this situation, but he's just so tanky. He has literally built all 3 of the hammers, and they all come with a fairly good bit of power as well. There's 55 on there, there's another 25 there. Frostbound and Runeforge actually work together, so in this instance I don't mind seeing these 2 be picked up, and this is what I think we wanted to see from the Odin and Fenrir kinds of game, where we see these frontliners be so tanky that they're just not able to take any damage. Meanwhile, now we have a bit of a fight over on the left-hand side. A lot of ultimates being used. Naja does take one up onto the front line. Now, the problem is, though, is that it was Marcus, and he's totally fine with this. Phoenix is still going down. Ecrom is just chunking autos in, and it just seems like just nothing that eloFishers did, they were able to help them. Duskers of Nights came out as a big stun goes through from Potato, but it's not good enough. Terror him in the backside, being an absolute terror. Erases Potato almost immediately. Now looking at Jing Chen's shell is popped. They're all forced out. Marcus is keeping them busy, and Soul just throwing autos straight into the Phoenix. It's a systematic downpour on this right now. Wine and Dine are in complete control. 20,000 gold in the lead. Not to mention as well that with the Primal Fury that had already come through, this has helped them just take those 2 right there. Everything here was gone, and look at how many sentry wards are placed down here. You have 4 sentry wards in this base. They knew exactly where everyone on eloFishers was at that time. So backing up, buying up, it's just, I honestly at this point I'm looking at eloFishers and going, all right guys, what the hell do we do now? Alright, what do we do in the next game? Well, Marcus got very far ahead, GetFisher got behind. How can we try and minimize that? Is there any way that we can help Potato stay ahead more? Can we get Crew something a little bit safer that doesn't matter if they fall behind? Could we maybe look to just try and pick a Geb, something like that? We have to try and play that out there. Sixer, he played something very passive. Terrorim was able to abuse that with something with a late game pick. Can we try and fix that? Where are we looking to try and fix this? That's what I'm thinking that eloFishers are going to be doing. I mean, they're not out yet. Titan is still standing, and that's the only kill that matters, but there's a Fire Giant team that have 20,000 gold ahead of you. I don't know what you are going to be able to do here. I genuinely do not think there is anything that eloFishers can do. They are going to have to get a phenomenal set of picks, and it has to be onto the back line. At this point, though, we do see Potato does have his Soul Reaver finished now, which is good. This is definitely going to help deal with some of the damage that the Vamana's coming through. Up to 7% of his health at once, which is a huge amount. It is not true damage though, so keep that in mind. Marcus now though, going up into the air, trying to just buy themselves some time, while Winter Ranger still picks up Amaterasu, and their orders are being pelted in. Marcus doesn't actually land on anyone in the end. And they're actually going to hold here, but blink forward by Marcus. GetFisher's destroyed from a Spirit Ball by Mr. Stefan. Now Amaterasu puts in the work, holds on the Titan. Beautiful work. These Spirit Balls from Mr. Stefan have been disgusting. Truly disgusting. It's all now up to the last 3 against 5. I don't think they've got what it takes here. It all comes through already from Vamana. He's barely taking any damage from this. Autos are going everywhere, and the Titan will fall. Wine and Dine take a 25-minute game, 25-minute kills. That's pretty damn good going for game 1 of Wine and Dine versus eloFishers. Bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that this is going to be a best of 3, but just breaking down a little bit further on what we saw here, the initial kills going against GetFisher really just put him behind. And the problem that I feel that eloFishers currently have is that they look to try and steamroll and fight and fight and fight better than you and fight and keep fighting, and they win from this regard. The problem is though, is that that's not being changed when they are behind. So they are behind, but they are still fighting, still trying to re-engage, still trying to keep these fights going. And every time they lose that fight, they get more behind. And then they get further behind, and then further behind, and further behind. Itori was almost getting the late game. Itori was almost starting to do damage at this point. Agni, once he got on his Obsidian Shard, would start incredibly chunking. Like, there was a lot that was starting to be done, but it just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and they were never able to do anything. I mean, you look at these damage numbers, they're all so low in comparison to everything that we see here. Mr. Stefan playing this ISIS, and these spirit balls may as well have been tracking the way that we'd seen this, and the amount of response that came off of these spirit balls was absolutely fantastic. We saw Mr. Stefan, oh, just got a stun, great, immediately Vamana blinks into the backside and blows up Get Fisher. There was nothing that he could do in that situation. Get Fisher again built full damage, and I think that he didn't end up paying off. Like, I know that Transcendence is great, don't get me wrong, you really want a Transcendence, but imagine if that Transcendence had instead been, I don't know, say a Void Shield. It's about the same price, gives you a little bit of health, prots, and it still gives you pen. Tries to help you come back in on this early game, because the problem was is that the Thanatos, he'd already got ahead. There was nothing you could do. He was going to build a Transcendence. Like, he was doing insane amounts of damage. The Magi's Cloak just mean that he could stay alive more. Same with the Bloodforge, is staying alive more. And Stone-Cutting Sword is a little bit of pen just to try and help the rest people like Vamana. And Vamana, don't even get me started. As soon as this started coming through, and you can start seeing things like this, I'm looking at this and going, alright, I need a kin size. Alright, I need a lot of damage. Like, at this point, I really don't want to see Atori building a Transcendence on Xbalanque. I want to see him build like the Devos. I want to see him get Executioner here, and then kin size or whatever. If they let the Vamana through again, I want to see Devourer's Gauntlets. I don't want to see the Transcendence. Transcendence is great, but the problem is that you lose the sustain and you try and get the sustain from somewhere else and you just push your build further behind. Get the Devourer's Gauntlets. It doesn't help you as strong early, but you're not there for the early. You're trying to just survive through the lane. That's at least where I stand on this situation. Take Mr. Stefan off of ISIS. He is doing very good work on it, or if you're going to give him the ISIS again, you just gotta find a way to keep these spirit balls off of people and be around for the objectives more. But like I said, this is only game 1. We have still a best of 3. So the question now remains is, will Get Fisher and the eloFishers be able to claw this back 2-1, or is this going to be a 2-0? I guess you'll just have to find out in the next video, ladies and gentlemen. So until then, my name has been SuperSonicBlur. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and favourite for more, and to share this stuff so people know that it exists. You guys have been a fantastic audience, and I shall see you all next time.